Hi everyone, welcome. I'm out here in my garden, my backyard, prepared to go check in on my outdoor worm bag. What I've got with me here is a package of tomatoes, and one of them's got a big thing of mold on it, and some of them are kind of bruised and soft and not really human consumption level anymore. So they're going to become today's meal, and there's, 4 tomatoes in here. Some of them, a couple of them are quite large, the store-bought ones. The other ones are from the garden. And this little care package you have here is very similar to what I gave my outdoor worm bag 2 check-ins ago, which was a little bundle of my prepared, not even my prepared bedding. This is just the boring stuff straight out of the shredder, the shredded cardboard and newspaper mix, wrapped tightly in a sheet of newspaper here. And this time I've even got a little bonus for them. I've got some of my pulverized eggshell, which is the grit that I give my worms. So before we head over there, just thought I would show you. Look at this carnage. And while this was from a few days ago, there was probably 2 or 3 times as many feathers out here of some little birdie that got caught by some predatory creature and torn to bits. Luckily the carcass was hauled away. All I'm left with is the feathers, but I think the time has come to head on over to the outdoor worm bag and get them fed. So let's get started. Here you can see the bruising and the mold and stuff that I referred to earlier. So definitely worm food. I'm sure you'll agree. I can see what remains of some black soldier fly activity out here. So the black soldier flies like to lay their eggs into places where they know that their offspring is going to have a good supply of food, and a lot of times a composting system or a worm bin or something along those lines in your yard might be the place that the black soldier flies locate as a good place for that to happen. So these are the these are what they look like when they're in their larval stage, and then this turns into like a husk inside of which the fly matures and eventually emerges from. So it's good to see. Sometimes when I come into my systems, I even encounter a black soldier fly just sort of sitting there on the side of the container, very relaxed, almost like it couldn't be bothered with me being there. A lot of times I even hold them in my hand and check them out, and they don't get scared. They don't fly away. I mean, they will eventually, but they're pretty relaxed about it, and they don't seem to mind too much. So they let you get away with a little bit of that gawking. So that top covering of newspaper we had seemed like it was holding up pretty good. So I think it's something we'll be able to stick with and keep. But when I see something like this, something that's been in damp, dark material for a long time now and still has this really bright white, almost like a bleached appearance to it, to me that just comes across as something that might be artificial, synthetic, something that the worms won't be able to break down anyway. So I just go with removing it. See, like here, this little guy's got much lighter color, and it's usually when they get a little bit bigger than this and darker in color is when they start to walk away from the food source, look for a place to just relax. Oh, yep, see the little guy moving on my hand here. I wasn't sure if he was alive, but I can now see that it is moving. They're kind of slow movers, but this guy's definitely healthy little creature. And I don't know why I was going to remove him. I'm putting him back in. A really effective little composter, especially when there's a great number of them. There he goes. Perhaps not as slow as I thought, but having the black soldier fly larva in my system is something I consider a welcome addition to the system's population. It's been a couple days of rain here, so I was wondering how the system's moisture level would be. I mean, that plywood top covering provides a good bit of protection, but it's got a big crack down the middle where moisture can get in. So I don't know if it was, acting as sort of a channel and sending all the moisture down, or if nothing else, it's going to at least pour off the sides and go down into the edge. And a good bit of it is going to definitely stay in the system, because this is actually two of these grow bags, one within each other, one within the other, and in between the two fabric bags is a plastic bag. So this thing, even though it's a fabric bag, and I think it does have some of the benefits of the breathability of just your plain old boring fabric bag, I think it also has a lot of the benefits of being a waterproof type container. But then again, the plastic bag, if I remember correctly, is one that has holes in it too, pretty good size holes. So, well, you know, a lot of really nice moisture in here, but everything flows and doesn't clump. And a lot of the bedding that was in here was this stuff. This is, I guess, some of the more tough, thicker bits of it, but there was a good bit of vegetation used as their feeding slash bedding. And I almost went the same route today, because I cleared my garden out of the cucumbers, which all kicked the bucket already a few days ago. The last one finally gave up. So I took them down, and I've got a pile of dry leaves and vines, and I thought, well, why not give that to these little guys? You know, that doesn't help me get rid of the food scraps in my kitchen. So in this particular case, those tomatoes are not even those tomatoes never even made it into the freezer. They're just going straight to the worms. I don't know if this is the same black soldier fly larvae that we bumped into earlier. Might be another one, which is good. So a lot of moisture in here. I'm glad to see it, but I'm also glad to see that it's not clumping, so it's like almost perfect. I'm sure the worms really appreciate it too. But you know, the one thing about this system is that it's not very deep. It's actually rather shallow. Almost makes me feel like we should actually go get that. You know what? Give me one moment. I'll be right back. Alright, so this is what I was referring to, is this collection of vines and leaves from the cucumber. But the only thing with this is that I can't just grab a handful of it. It's like just one huge vine. Well, I mean, 7. There were 7 plants. So for me to get only a piece of this would be a little bit tricky. And there's a lot of big stems in here too. So I guess I envision this just going into my everyday compost barrel. But perhaps we can take advantage of some of the more leafy stuff that very readily breaks off of these vines. I'm sure the worms will appreciate it. But don't forget, I've got that nice little care package of shredded newspaper and cardboard to give them. So I don't have to worry too much about it. I think we'll be good as far as bedding goes. But I'm sure they'll also appreciate this little assortment of leafy matter. Perhaps a little bit more, you know, like the stuff that their kind has grown up with over time. So I guess the grid, I'm just going to randomly sprinkle it throughout. This grid is pulverized eggshell. And then, you know, the mistake I made when I applied one of these last time was that I sort of started opening it up, and then once the shredded paper started becoming revealed and sort of decompressing, I thought to myself, hey, why not keep it together and put it in kind of bundled? And when we came back last time, the stuff was still kind of in a bundle. So it seemed like maybe a little bit of a mistake to do it that way. So this time I definitely wanted to deploy it like so. And I'm really glad that what we're giving them is juicy stuff, because this is all going in here dry. This is not my pre-dampened prepared bedding like I've got down in the basement. This is just stuff that came straight out of the shredder. And you know, with this piece of newspaper here that came with the shredded paper cardboard mix, I'm thinking we could just give them a nice new replacement top covering too. And oh, look at that, all that juice. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have a problem with with dry bedding. I think we'll be just fine with the juice that this feeding is gonna provide them with. Now that I'm looking at it, it even seems like kind of a large meal. I don't know, perhaps some of this tomato still could have even been salvaged. I guess if I was desperate, but not that desperate. I think we'll be a-okay. So, that's pretty much it, right? All we got left to do is getting these little guys covered up. Oh, I thought I saw another black soldier fly larvae, but that was a roly-poly cruising around over there. Gotta love the outdoor worm bag, because it just has creatures living in it that you never get to see down in my wormery. I mean, once in a while, the outdoor worms come inside and join the worms that live in the wormery. And I'm thinking that that might be the way we go with these little guys too. We'll just kind of wait up until the winter weather, very cold weather, starts to set in, and before we subject them to that extreme in temperatures, which pretty much results in them really slowing down and not becoming nearly as productive composters as they could be in warmer conditions. We just bring them inside, you know, kind of quarantine them for a while, trying to make sure we don't have any sort of weirdo bugs that we don't want coming in, and then just start treating them just like any other system down there. All right, well, we're pretty much done here. I've just got a couple things that I gotta take care of getting cleaned up and put away, but I'm not going to keep you around for that. That's boring. Before I go though, really quick, let me just say thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, as always, please don't forget to leave me a quick thumbs up before you go. That's always really appreciated. And if you haven't done so already, please also consider subscribing to the channel. That's very much appreciated as well. All right, everyone, thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye now.